Hey guys, it's me again, coming to you live, but not really. Welcome to my laundry room. I'm filming here because my girlfriend is asleep in the bedroom, not feeling good, so I don't want to disturb her. I wanted to wish you guys a happy Lunar New Year. I hope you had a good one. Mine was a little bittersweet. Last year, 2021, it was the first Chinese New Year that I ever celebrated. My girlfriend is Chinese. My girlfriend is an excellent cook, and I thought, well, she's gonna make so much food, and that's just too much for two people. We gotta invite more people, but we have kind of a small apartment, so we thought that we could only bring one, maybe two other guests. So I invited my friend Liz. Liz is a girl that I had known through a group therapy program. We took a break for about a year after an incident. It didn't involve me, but I thought it would be best if I gave her some space. But we reconnected eventually, and she was a good girl. She was, very beautiful and smart and funny and a good person to be around and affectionate. And I said, hey, let's invite Liz over for a Chinese New Year's dinner. And she had actually dropped me off at my girlfriend's house one time, which was very nice of her, right after the two of us had lunch together. So I invited my friend Liz, and I texted her maybe like January 28th and asked her if she had any plans. But all of my texts and messages and phone calls were going unanswered. Now, I know plenty of people who you text them, you call them, and they don't get back to you for like 2 weeks. This was not one of those people. Liz was a person who, when you contacted her, she responded very quickly. So this was uncharacteristic of her. So a few days went by. The Chinese New Year's dinner was fast approaching. So I asked our mutual friend Christine, not my girlfriend, we call her Little Christine. I asked her because she lived near Liz to go check on her. This was before, or this was after rather, I had asked Christine, hey, have you heard from Liz? And she said no. The two of them lived close to each other, so I figured that little Christine could go check on Liz. And she was kind of reluctant, but it turns out in the end it didn't matter. What I found out a few days later was that Liz had passed away. She was 34 years old and she was healthy, but she had a tragic freak accident in her home. She was getting out of the shower and she slipped and fell and hit her head, and she died. I don't know if the impact killed her instantly or if she was still alive afterwards, but all I know is that she had been in that apartment for days by the time her father, who was also worried about her, went over to her apartment to check on her. And he found her dead. And I can't imagine the horror and pain that must have been for him, especially since this man, several years ago, he had lost his wife, and but a year earlier he had lost his mother, so now he lost his daughter. He also found her cats like shaking and hiding underneath the bed. Yeah, he was like really skinny from not eating for days, but thankfully he managed to rescue the cat. It was a real shock. I cried, and I'm not a person who cries very often, but I also felt terrible for little Christine because I had set the two of them up because neither of them really had any friends to speak of, and they lived very close to each other. So I thought that they would get along great, and they were. But now Liz was dead, and little Christine was just getting to know her, and she was devastated. And I don't know if it was a funeral or some kind of memorial service, because I only found out that she had died like a week afterwards. And I still miss her, you know, and I wish that we had hung out more. I wish that I had introduced her to my girlfriend. I think the two of them would have liked each other. And yeah, this is something that I've been holding close to me for a year now. It's not something that I wanted to talk about right away, or if I did, I just, I didn't quite know how to talk about it in public. Regardless, this year we actually managed to have a pretty damn good Chinese New Year's. We had more people this year, both my girlfriend and our neighbor, who is also a very good cook. They both contributed food, and we ate at my neighbor's house because she has a much bigger dining room. Altogether, there were 9 people there. We had dinner with neighbors and our neighbors' kids and their families. And a good time was had by all. We have leftovers for days. And that's about it. So I'll be back with more Hawaii videos in due time. But until then, take care, you guys, and I'll see you later. Like, comment, subscribe.